Hey everyone, I saw a great video the other day. It was between Fabio Caruana and Garry Kasparov, and I just thought I'd go through this amazing game. So in this game, Caruana was playing with white and Garry Kasparov was playing with the black pieces. This was played in the year 2016 in the St. Louis Ultimate Blitz Challenge. So this is a Blitz game, but we're going to look at it from Kasparov's perspective, who was playing black in this game. Caruana kicked off then with 1e4, and Kasparov played his typical Najdorf variation. So he plays a Sicilian, knight to f3 was played, there was d6, d4, captures, and knight to f6. And after knight to c3, Kasparov plays the Najdorf with a6. The point of this move is it stops any white knight or bishop jumping into this b5 square. So a typical idea. And now Caruana plays quite a quiet move actually, and it's not been played often. He played h3. So an interesting move, prepares ideas like g4, and again stops black's knight jumping in to g4, and also stops his bishop jumping into g4 as well. But now Kasparov switches to a Scheveningen style game. This is where now black played the move e6, and we get this structure where black's plays both pawns on e6 and d6. And it's considered very solid, and basically black's just going to launch a queenside attack. And this is where the game gets good. Caruana continues his play with the move g4. Remember, this is a Blitz game, so in Blitz it's very good to attack and try and complicate things for your opponent. Kasparov then develops with bishop to e7, Caruana develops his bishop on g2, and Kasparov moves his knight back to d7. So a very prophylactic play, anticipating the move g5. So before white plays it, Kasparov moves his knight away. And this maybe opens up squares for the bishop as well to jump into f6, which could potentially linger on this diagonal. So bishop e3 was played by Caruana. Kasparov develops his knight to c6. White plays queen e2, and Kasparov now castles kingside, with white castling queenside. And this is where things get very interesting because both sides have castled in the opposite direction. So black's going to attack on the queen side, white will attack on the king side, and it depends whose attack is faster. So Kasparov continued then with knight takes d4, the bishop takes on d4, and queen c7 is played. Black's plan is pretty simple, b5, bishop b7, and get a rook onto these open files. And Caruana's plan is also simple, just attack and launch a pawn storm. f4 is played by Caruana, launching this pawn storm, preparing moves like f5, g5, and open up black's king position. Kasparov does the same, plays b5, gets on with his attack. Now in the game, Caruana played g5. With hindsight, this may have been too slow. Maybe white should now play the move e5 instead, using the bishop to attack the rook on a8, forcing black to play d5, and then white can gain an advantage with f5 and open up black's king this way. And if play continues with b4 from Kasparov, white could play the nice move knight takes d5 here, and if captures, play e6, sacrificing a piece for a great attack. Now the point of this move is if black moves the knight away, let's say knight to f6, then e takes f7 can be played, after rook takes f7, bishop takes f6, then bishop takes f6 here, would lead to queen e8 check, rook f8, and then bishop takes d5 with a winning position for white. And if g takes f6 here, again just bishop takes d5 from white, and white's got an amazing position. So if we just go back a few more moves after this move e6 from white, if black plays f takes e6 instead of moving the knight away, queen e6 is also very nice after rook to f7, just play bishop takes d5, and the point is the rook on f7 is pinned. White's still a piece down but has an amazing attack. Okay, so go back to the game. Maybe Caruana could have played this e5 idea. He did play g5 instead, still not bad, but Kasparov plays b4, hits the knight on c3, forcing it to move. Caruana moves it to a4, and now Kasparov plays e5, stopping whites from playing that e5 idea that we just saw. So attacking the bishop, Caruana retreats his bishop backwards, and Kasparov takes on f4. The bishop recaptures on f4. So the bishop and the rook are attacking d6 here for white, so Kasparov plays knight to e5 to block the bishop. and Caruana now plays queen f2, giving a space for the knight to jump in to b6 if bishop d7 was played. So Kasparov plays rook to b8 to stop any knight b6 ideas, and now Caruana continues his attack with h4. Now I saw this game actually on YouTube and I looked at this position and I thought maybe bishop d7 looks quite good here for black, because you're attacking the a4 knight. But the point is, if b3 for instance to protect, black's doing very well with bishop takes a4 and pawn takes. However, I missed that in this position white can play knight c5. The point being, if d takes c5, white can simplify with bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, and then rook takes d7. And white's got an absolutely fine position, opposite coloured bishops, so it's probably equal to a draw here. But this is why Kasparov is still such a good player. He played the move bishop g4 here instead, attacking the rook on d1 and forcing Caruana to move the upper square, rook to d2. Now Kasparov's next move was actually decent. He played rook f to c8. However, a better move here was just b3. Again, if a takes b3, the c-pawn is now pinned, so rook takes b3 can be played. The c-pawn is pinned, so can't take the rook. And if white now played a move like c3, queen a5 is incredibly strong, attacking the knight on a4. If the rook protects the knight, then black can just play bishop to e6, threatening to play knight to c4, stopping this rook protecting the knight on a4. And after bishop f1 to stop knight to c4, black can play rook c8, and again knight c4 is threatened, followed by queen takes the knight on a4. This knight on a4 has got no squares to go to, so this threat is very powerful. So after b3, a takes b3, rook takes b3. It's possible for white to play this move again, knight to c5, attacking the rook on b3 now. And obviously black can't take this, because if pawn takes, then white will just hoover up the rook on b3. So the best move for black to play is rook to b5, attacking the knight. After bishop takes e5, pawn takes e5, knight comes back to d3. Black still has an advantage with queen a5, threatening queen to a1 checkmate here. After king b1, play queen to c3. The point is, again, this b-pawn is still pinned by this rook, and now black's threatening to dive their bishop into a3, with three pieces attacking this b-pawn, and that should be game over. So b3 is incredibly strong here. It shows the ideas that black has, but Kasparov just continued. Rook fc8, still a good move with the queen and rook battery against the king. Caruana does play b3 though, stopping black from playing b3 and protects the knight on a4. Queen a5 is now played by Kasparov. Bishop h3 by white, offering the trade of bishops. Kasparov puts his bishop back to e6 and Caruana continues his attack with h5. And this is where Kasparov fought for a while and played a killer blow here. He played knight to c4. The point of this move is if white takes this knight off, then queen takes a4 is incredibly strong. Let's say bishop takes e6, then black can ignore this and play queen takes a2, threatening queen a1 checkmate. White can throw in an intermezzo move, bishop takes f7 check, king takes f7, and bishop to e5 with check from the queen. However, after just king to g8, bishop to b2 to stop this queen a1 idea, then black can just play queen takes c4 and has a very strong position, probably winning, with moves like bishop takes g5 coming up, or just b3 here. So after knight c4 though, Caruana moved his rook away from this knight. Rook to e2. It's better to maintain your pawn structure here for white. But then just comes bishop takes g5 from Kasparov, wins a pawn, and it's protected by the queen. B takes c4 was played, so white picks up the knight on c4. However, after bishop takes c4 here, bishop takes g5, queen takes g5 with check, rook to e3 is a clever move to block, but now comes the move bishop to d3, a very nice move from Kasparov. The pawn on c3 is attacked twice by the bishop and the rook, and it's also pinned, and this rook on e3 is now also pinned as well. Caruana tries to get out of this pin with queen to g3, but black's attack is just too quick. Rook takes c2 with check is played, king to d1, And now black picks up another pawn, queen takes h5, and queen g4 is played to block. And now the queen is threatened, and also the bishop on d3 is threatened, but Kasparov has a very nice move. He plays queen e5. And the point now is that after Caruana takes, rook takes d3, he plays rook takes a2, threatening now queen to a1 with checkmate, and also attacking knight on a4. It's also worth remembering that here black has 6 pawns against white's 1, so black should be winning this position. And this is where we get into a sort of a time scramble. Both sides had really low time here, but we'll see how Kasparov finished up the game. Caruana played rook to d2 to give the king a safety square to e2 here. Kasparov played queen to a1 with check. The king went to e2, the only square. Rook takes d2, king takes d2, queen takes h1, and knight to b2 from Caruana. And just watch here how Kasparov finishes off the game. He plays queen h2 check, bishop g2 to block, and instead of going for anything really complicated here, Kasparov just simplifies. He plays h5, giving the king a safety square. The queen moves to g5, and now simplification plays queen to e5, threatening the queen and the knight at the same time, forcing white to trade queens. After the trades occurred, Caruana plays bishop to f1, attacking the pawn, but Kasparov plays a5, bishop c4 is played, and Kasparov finishes the game with h4. Caruana resigned this position just because this pawn's going to run up the board, and there's no way to stop all these pawns coming up the board with these two pieces. Black's position is just far superior, and yeah, Kasparov went on to win this very nice game. Anyway, I thought this game was just nice to see. It's nice to see a world champion still be able to compete against some of the top players at the time. I mean, this game was 4 years ago, but I'm sure Kasparov is still a very strong player. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please do drop a like, comment or subscribe, and I'll see you very soon with another chess video. Thanks very much.